on-chain data is one of the most overpowered tools for your Bitcoin analysis. Being able to monitor and act on network activity in real time is the basis for many successful investors. And with these new metrics, profitability has just become even easier. Today, we're going to be looking at some amazing new tools for your Bitcoin analysis. And we have already kind of shown these off a little bit over the past few videos, but today we're going to be doing a deep dive, as well as talking about how you can make these actionable new metrics really improve your Bitcoin analysis and really simplify the process as well. So first and foremost, we have the long-term holder supply, which is a very cool metric in seeing the underlying trend in the long-term holdings of BTC investors. We can see this is defined by someone that has held Bitcoin for at least 155 days. And we can really see the trend of BTC just being absolutely gobbled up by investors who just pretty much refuse to sell. We can see the long-term upwards trend in this metric, both in the peaks and on the troughs, which really suggests that people are having a very long-term perspective when it comes to their BTC holdings. And this very much decreasing liquid or short-term holder supply of BTC means that any new capital inflows are going to have a substantially greater impact on the BTC price. Just in very simple terms, if there's 10 million BTC to buy, it requires considerably more capital to buy that up and have a positive impact on price than if there's only 1 million BTC available to buy. Every BTC purchased when there's 10 times less liquid supply has a much, much greater impact on the underlying market cap. And we can see the short-term hodler supply is again decreasing at a massive rate. And we can see this is very interesting because when these peaks occur, it actually aligns perfectly with the Bitcoin price action peaks as well. Because as long-term holder coins transfer into short-term holder coins, these short-term holders are more than willing to pay what may be considered an overpriced amount for Bitcoin. And if we actually look at the comparison between these long and short-term holders, we can see a pretty much perfect inverse correlation. Once the long-term holders absolutely hit their bottom, the short-term holders absolutely hit the peak. This is pretty much exactly when the Bitcoin price action all-time high, or at least the all-time high at that point in time, occurs. And I wouldn't bet against anything different happening this cycle. I think once we see these metrics begin to converge, once we see this short-term metric increasing very rapidly and this decreasing very rapidly, then I think it's probably time to begin considering taking some profit, especially when we consider that these are actually aligning pretty nicely to a point where we could maybe, to some extent, maybe even predict at what prices these are going to occur. We can actually see that if that trend is to follow, then maybe once the Bitcoin long-term holder supply dips to around 14.5 million, potentially a little bit less than that, once this increases to a value of around 5, potentially even 6 million, that indicates that a huge amount of capital, a huge amount of BTC is being transferred into the new hands, and they're probably paying a higher price to do so. But now we can actually check at what price they are paying to do so. We can see the long-term holder realized price. So the underlying realized price is the average accumulation price of all BTC on the network. But now we can actually differentiate the accumulation price of these long-term holders and the short-term holders. And what you can immediately see is the long-term holder realized price has been the ultimate bottom call for Bitcoin throughout its entire history, accumulating beneath this long-term holder realized price, which indicates that a majority of people that have been in Bitcoin for an extended period of time are actually at a loss on their positions. When there's blood in the streets, this is the time to really aggressively accumulate BTC at considerably discounted prices, and these times have not lasted long. If we just compare this long-term holder realized price, we can see that in this cycle we were only beneath this for a couple of weeks, really, a very short period of time to really take advantage. If we compare this to the realized price, which is taking into account the short-term and long-term holders of Bitcoin and their in combined average accumulation price, we were actually beneath this for a substantially longer period of time. So it wasn't the cleanest signal just purely looking at the realized price. So this long-term one has a substantially higher accuracy at calling the Bitcoin price action bottoms, and especially when we collate that with the short-term holder realized price. Now we can actually see in real time the average cost basis for new capital coming into the market. And this has been a perfect caller of accumulating on pullbacks throughout bull cycles. We can see in the 2015, 2016 into 2017 cycle, every time price reached this level on a pullback, it indicated that a lot of short-term entrants into the market were actually break even or potentially at a slight loss on their positions. Maybe they were feeling a little bit fearful and began to sell off their coins. These were the most opportune moments to accumulate at a discounted price. And again, during bear cycles, once we see this reach this realized price, once we see that, again, these holders reaching break even on their positions, maybe they start taking profit. These are the most opportune moments to begin, again, potentially taking some profit on your positions if you haven't scaled out as much as you wanted to. Maybe even take a small short position if you're that way inclined. But ultimately, this has been one of the most accurate intra-cycle, more short to medium term metrics at predicting support and resistance for BTC. And we can see this metric currently sits at around $44,000. So if we are to reach that price, about a 20% retracement from our local highs, that would be a great area to potentially accumulate some additional BTC at a discounted rate. But one thing you can also do with these metrics, with these CSV data downloads, you can actually manipulate this data to potentially come up with new and exciting metrics specifically just for you. So here, just as an example, I've actually recreated not exactly the MVRV Z score, but the MVRV of the short-term holder realized price. And we can actually see, if we scroll down all the way here, that this has been an incredibly accurate way to actually not only accumulate into your positions, but also take profit at the most opportune moments. We can see that once short-term holders are at about a 40% loss on their positions on average, this is really accurately called a key turning point of positive price action for BTC. Once this reaches a value of about 0.6, like we said, about 40% average loss on the position of short-term holders, this has been one of the most opportune moments to accumulate BTC. And again, once these holders reach about a 70% amount of profit on their average position, this has been an unbelievable time to begin taking profit on your position. Also, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to ensure you're receiving all of our content as soon as it's released. And make sure to check out all the resources we've discussed today, as well as the many more that are all available on lookintobitcoin.com, your #1 source for Bitcoin information. So just to summarize, the new short and long-term holder metrics on Look Into Bitcoin provide a very unique perspective into the investing behavior of both the market's most and least experienced participants. And accumulating when beneath the accumulation price of longer-term investors has been one of the best risk-to-reward areas to do so. And alongside that, taking more shorter to medium-term trades and investments based on the shorter term traders break-even point has worked incredibly well both in bull cycles and in bear cycles. And using these new metrics to create custom signals like the STH short-term holder MVRV metric I very quickly spun up before can be incredibly accurate and open the door to a whole new world of possibilities of amazingly accurate investing signals using real underlying fundamental on-chain metrics. If you liked this video, then please visit lookintobitcoin.com, where you can also consider becoming a site subscriber to gain access to professional resolution charts, advanced macro and portfolio data tools, in-depth crypto industry reports, live and personalized indicator alerts, private TradingView scripts, and more, all for a fraction of the standard industry price. And let me know down in the comments below, are you looking forward to using these metrics? Do you think they can provide a unique perspective to really improve your Bitcoin investing and analysis? And what other metrics would you like to see added going forward? Let me know both down in the comments and on social media. I look forward to reading and replying to all of them. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.